As if Ymir wasn't perfect enough. They just had to go and do this, huh? Ba weeb grana weeb ninny bong YouTube, RedWhiteandBluestreak here, and today we're taking a look at Newage H56 Rhedosaurus. You know the drill. This is Newage's first, technically second, take at a legend scale interpretation of Dinobot Sludge from Season 2 of the Generation 1 Transformers cartoon. Now for those who don't know who Sludge is, I unfortunately don't really have a lot to go off of for you. At least for this interpretation of Sludge. Yeah, for Generation 1, all the Dinobots kind of fit into the same category of big, dumb, strong dino robot. They were basically just toys from the toy line, meant to appeal to the vast demographic of kids that liked dinosaurs and robots. What can I say? It worked. Any worthwhile toy interpretation of these characters gets man-children like me to foam at the mouth wanting to get our hands on them. If any of my Show Z comments or anything to go off of. Starting with the packaging, this glorified Dino Nuggie comes in the same sized box as Ymir in Dino mode, which is where we'll start for this review. Once again, Newage does really well on the packaging, and the more figures I get from them, the more I start to think that I probably prefer their packaging style over Magic Square. Unpackaging the Jurassic Giant, we get just that. A big ol' herbivore with no thoughts behind those optics. Well, maybe rageful thoughts, but that's about it. The Apatosaurus mode looks absolutely amazing, like he leapt right out of the cartoon. He looks even better when paired up with Ymir here, or any other legend scale figure for that matter. Newage gets full marks with this mode, and spoilers, they get full marks with the robot mode too. The colors are spot on, there's just enough sculpted detail on this figure, and he feels wonderfully solid, even without the inclusion of die-cast metal, outside of the Dino mode toes, which is kind of a rarity for Newage nowadays, all things considered. Of course, they're still using the solid plastic that the company is known for, which makes me feel like I can really just handle this guy any which way without a care in the world, which you're definitely going to want to do thanks to the articulation in this mode. There are a couple ball joints at the neck. You can curl the neck up that far and straighten it out that far. The mouth can hinge open, just like with Ymir, and there's even a place for the fire effect piece from Ymir. Legs can move out all the way, and can move all the way around. There's also a little bit of wiggle at the foot. Same thing at the rear leg, but at a different place. We also have the return of the genius triple jointed tail design from Ymir. And just like with Ymir, you can split his head open, and give that boy pink eye. The articulation on this mode is just as amazing as Ymir's, and speaking of the optics, there's actually an alt mode exclusive accessory for this figure, which is a first on the channel. Initially when I saw the colorless renders for this figure, I thought these were some kind of weird bunny ear accessory, and figured there was some sort of lost Easter special episode that I missed. But this is actually like a really specific reference from like 4 frames of the 1986 Transformers movie. Honestly, a fantastic throwaway accessory that I'll definitely display him with if I'm ever able to get my hands on Newage's Devastator. Let's just move on to robot mode before I think more about how I missed out on that set. There's a tab here you can extend into the foot, but it limits articulation. Oh yeah, that was good. I'm normally not a fan of faux parts, but I'll gladly make an exception for this mode considering how they handle it, as well as the other genius moves in this transformation that result in this amazing robot mode. I love how this figure looks and feels in this mode from every angle. The dino legs are perfectly hidden away in the legs and the back. Along with that, the legs slim out in a similarly mind-boggling fashion as Ymir's forearms, and the newly revealed mechanical detail makes for a fantastic cherry on top of it all. And of course, he also looks great next to other Legend scale figures. Take a look at him with Magic Square's Meteorite, Newage's Firefox, Newage Choking Hazard, Newage Herbie, Magic Square Ryu, Magic Square Light of Victory, and of course, Newage Ymir, who looks a little different, So Rhedosaurus comes with a leg filler upgrade kit for Ymir, something that, from what I understand anyways, comes with newer repaints of the Ymir figure too. The legs on Ymir were the farthest thing from an issue for me. If you remember, I didn't even mention them in the review. Mainly because I was astounded by what Newage was able to accomplish at this scale, but apparently this was something mentioned by enough people, reviewers and general consumers alike, that Newage saw fit to include this upgrade kit with their next Dinobot release. And, while unnecessary in my opinion, this is greatly appreciated. For one, it makes a perfect figure even more perfect, making me decide to retroactively alter my score to a 5.5 out of 5 with this, because it just looks that much better. And for another, it means that Newage listens to their consumers' input, which is more than I can say about a certain other Legend scale company that I know. Nothing against you, Magic Square, your products are amazing, but we've been wanting you to use better materials with your Legend scale figures for a long while now, since it would make your figures a lot more playable, if that makes any sense. And it's been shown that you can make figures with similar materials because you do it with your MP scale releases. Not sure why you don't do that on a more consistent basis, but it's definitely a big peeve of mine with those figures. But enough of that, let's talk about the other accessories for this figure. He comes with a gun, as most Transformers do. It's beautifully sculpted and cast in the proper colors, and can be held in his fists, which he doesn't have out of the box. Yeah, Newage just started doing this thing recently where they don't have hands on their figures out of the box. Can't say I'm the biggest fan of it because the first time I saw it with Machine and Mensch, I thought it meant there'd be parts forming for the hands, and, well, that horrified me to no end. But there's no parts forming necessary, so it ain't the end of the world. Along with those hands, he has these hinged open hands that I think should be a standard for Legends figures going forward. Seriously, the hinge just adds so much to the potential expressiveness of the figure, which we'll get into when we talk about the articulation in a minute. The hands also have this other accessory where you can swap out the claws on the wrists if that's more your style. I'm not sure why you'd want to mismatch the colors for the claws, considering that the point of the faux parts is to trick observers into thinking that these parts could be the same parts as in the alt mode, but hey, you do you, I guess. Now I mentioned the articulation, and that's definitely a strong suit for this figure. The ball joint's a little tight thanks to the tight ball joint as well as the dino neck back there. But you can look up that far and down a tiny bit. Arms can move out all the way and move all the way around if you move the dino wings. There's a rotation at the bicep, a bend at the elbow, a rotation at the wrist, and a rotation at the waist. Nice ab crunch, legs can split out all the way, can kick forward all the way, and back that far. There's a nice bend at the knee. There's a rotation at the thigh, and also a sideways knee bend, but that's more for the transformation, and an unreasonable pivot. I don't think I need to say how much I love the articulation on this guy, or how nice it is to manipulate these joints. It feels amazing if you couldn't already guess. Look, we already know how I feel about this figure, so let's just skip it. 5 out of 5 for the figure alone, but I'm willing to boost it by 0.5 for the inclusion of a solution to what I consider a non-problem with their last perfect Dinobot. Newage is absolutely killing it with their Dinobots so far, and don't seem to be slowing down with that momentum. And believe me, when we get to him, the next one is just as good, if not better than its predecessors. If you're a Dinobot collector, a Sludge fan, or a Legends collector, I strongly recommend that you pick up this figure, and the other Dinobots while you're at it. And hey, if you're wanting to get the most bang for your buck, why not grab them at the Shozy store? Now, I'm not sponsored by Shozy store, I definitely wouldn't mind a sponsorship. The store has by far the best prices for these third-party figures, and even better shipping prices. Yes, there's a bit of a wait that comes with any overseas shipping service, but honestly, the wait is worth it. And when it comes to these Dinobots, you're gonna want to save every penny you can.